Okay, welcome to the Pokemon Radar podcast, episode 7, Meet the Collector series. Today we have a very special guest, someone that, at least from my knowledge, goes back into the foundation of Pokemon collecting and what it is today. I consider him a little bit of one of the pillars. He's one of the names you'll see in the old scrolls of Pokemon collecting, and um, I'm really excited to talk to him and hear some stories today. We have DJGigabyte. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. How are
Good,
you?
I'm good. You?
Doing great, doing great. Had a nice little weekend, little traveling around California, and now I'm happy to
Nice.
be talking about Pokemon.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about you. Your beginnings with Pokemon. Now, I don't know if you know what people can hear. You have a little bit of an accent, so
Oh,
I know you're from across the
originally
pond.
from Northeast England.
Okay, northeast
Yeah,
England. How old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Okay, great. So right up in there with everybody else that's doing Pokemon. You were a Wizards of the Coast baby, and
Right in the nostalgia era, like
okay.
perfect age when it was first coming out.
What was it like over there in England with Pokemon? I mean, did it start kind of right at the same time that it did with the
Yeah,
U.S.? And was there
pretty much. I mean, I think the official release date for the games in Europe was maybe like a month after the US. TCG wise, it's hard to really exactly pinpoint it from remembering when I was like 8 years old or whatever.
right, right?
First edition might as well not have existed.
Okay,
Uh, like people had like one or two first edition cards in their collection, and they were ones they like friends had brought back from holiday or they traded or something because we just didn't like for the first edition print run was like US only for most of the early sets. Like sold out hugely over there.
oh,
We had to
even
stick with it.
even with Jungle and Fossil, you didn't see much of the first edition stuff.
No, we really didn't. I think it was somewhere into like Team Rocket or the gym sets where I actually started seeing people with a decent amount of first edition. But like
Okay.
it still wasn't in stores. Like if stores got it, it sold out immediately.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. I mean, it was yeah, the base set obviously was elusive to everybody, but Jungle and Fossil here was accessible. So that's interesting to hear. I mean, were you did you get into it because of the video game and the TV show like everyone else did, or were the cards the first thing that kind of popped in?
I I genuinely don't remember. Like I remember I played the games, I watched the TV show, I collected the cards. We had all the like the books, the magazines, all the just everything that was going on with Pokemon, the plush, whatever. I don't remember what part of it came first. It just kind of like everyone I knew at school, like we all got to that age, and then just Pokemon hit like a freight train, and
Yeah.
within 2 weeks, all Pokemon stuff was banned in schools, and just hit everyone really hard. Everyone got super into it for a while.
Wow, it's I find this is something that I've been wanting to do is talk with someone from a different country about this, and it's just we have the exact same stories. It's really cool to have that connection with everybody, and um,
Yeah,
it's
like the one kid has a bad trade for his Charizard, and the teacher ban all the cards.
yep, yep. Was that you?
Every school. No, I didn't trade my stuff. I was like, I was one of the only people I know who, me and my brother, we actually got the binders, we got the binder pages, we put them in number order. We left the gaps for the numbers that were missing. Like,
Okay,
no one else we knew was doing that.
right. And I mean, you're still doing that to this day. I mean, that's something that
Oh yeah,
um, you're big on. I mean, you've got your YouTube channel up, and you've been posting a lot recently. You're a true set collector. You're buy and you buy every new set that comes out, open it up with your wife or your girlfriend, your wife, your
I'm a
married,
wife.
yeah, your wife, and you guys share that experience together, building the new sets or the binder sets for every new one that comes out, which is really cool. I mean, it's kind of coming back. I feel like a little bit, but it's still something that a lot of people stray away from, and that's really the true I think the
One
true
of my
reasoning of collecting.
one of my goals this year, I know that thread started of like you're collecting goals for the year and the decade.
Hmm.
The big one I put for this year was to try and actually finish my Sun and Moon binders because it got to the point. What we've been doing is like we buy a case when the new set comes out, and then we pick up like the tins, whatever, the blisters to get the alternate hollows or the promos. But it just ends up where all of our binders just have some gaps in them. So we actually want to try and get focused and get the binders finished.
Okay. Are you doing the
There's,
full
um,
master sets? Are you doing?
to a point, because of these. So Sun and Moon has the ones where I'm sure you've probably seen the DCs from Evolutions
Right,
that
right.
Thunder Moon has, like the champion stand.
Okay.
So Sun and Moon has that for Ultra Ball. There's like three different champion stands. Guardians Rising has it for oh, what's the name of the card? I forget. It's another one that there's multiple champion stands. So I'm gonna consider my sets like done if I have the regular one plus the staff one,
Okay.
and then I'm not gonna like expend too much energy and money trying to chase down the top eight and the champions.
And then
But other than
yeah,
that, the idea is full master set, all the variants, everything.
all the different languages and as well.
Oh no, I'm not touching language. Sorry,
Okay.
English master
Just
sets.
English master sets. Yeah, I remember just touching on that. I remember, I mean, Evolutions was the time that I kind of really got back into it, and one of my favorite. You're one of my favorite podcast guests ever. The rants you go on, they're incredible to listen to. I remember the one from 2017 in Anaheim, and you got into depth about the Evolutions master set and what people think master set is, what it actually
Hey,
is, and that.
because evolutions is where people stopped accepting what was accepted as the general definition.
Okay, okay, so that was that. See, I didn't realize that was kind of the set that changed it all because I completed a set and I thought to myself, oh, I've got a master set, and then I heard you go on, talk about it, and I was like, oh, gotta go find out all these, and I
Yeah,
spent
I mean,
so much time trying to find those champion TCEs and just never could.
yeah, I mean that's so hard. Like I don't think any person is ever going to have an evolutions master set. I mean, Dave Person might end up getting it if he's lucky with the champions, but like
Right.
Thunder Moo's got three of the champions. He's stuck trying to get the last one. It's such a set, but the thing is that the reason it annoys me is because people were. It was always accepted in collecting that master set was absolutely everything, every variant, every alternate hollow, different arts, every single thing. And then when it got to evolutions, people were like, it seemed like people were really wanting to say they had master sets, but
Hmm.
didn't want to go to the trouble of completing a master set.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, oh, well, I don't think the staff Charizard should really be counted in the master set because, not everyone can get it. That's, it just got annoying that people were trying to, like, it's all right. You don't have to have a master set. Like, not have the same thing. Like, and it's totally fine to say, hey, like if you just say I've got an evolutions complete set, like that's not a bad thing.
Right. Right. People were just
Yeah,
looking for this sort of validation for themselves to have something cooler than what everyone else did.
people seem to think that like master set was declared as the top thing, and then people decided what went into the master set, rather than people who collected everything needing a name for it.
Yeah.
And if the definition of master set did change, all that would happen is that the people who did collect everything would need a new term, and they'd call it like what master set plus or something,
The
and then everyone would get
perfectionist.
annoyed about that, and
Yeah.
they change master set plus to something else, and then
Yeah.
we'd have to have a new term.
Very true. That's a good point. I'm glad someone was sticking up for it. Because, I mean, it was also really, yeah, that was just interesting to me because I never even thought of all the different variations to be included in that. And that just kind of created a new competitiveness to getting it. Because I remember,
If you're just looking for stuff from packs, like just all the regular set plus the reverse set, there is an official name for that. That's called a full set, and
mhm.
that's an official name that Pokemon uses because they used to give out sets like that as prizes at Worlds.
Oh,
So,
really?
and that would actually be labeled. Yeah, it would be like just a long white box that would have one of every card in regular, one of every card in reverse. Like the
Oh,
winner got like the previous four sets or something like that, and
oh,
that would
that's
be
cool.
labeled as a full set. So that one is an official term that actually gets used.
That's interesting. That's kind of like the old like sport card sets that they used to give out. like the
Yeah.
1992 Topps MLB set, and they just had every card, and you could just buy it like that. That's interesting. I didn't know Pokemon labeled something like that. That's good to know.
It's only been for World's prizes. It's never been any sort of like released product that you can go and get. It's only been prizes.
Okay. Huh. I wonder if any of those are out there. If there's any special stamp or variation within those boxes.
There's not. We've
No.
checked.
Oh, okay.
It's just a box. I don't even think the box is sealed. It's just a white box with a sticker on it saying like this set, full set, like whatever the name of the set is, full set, and then it has slightly played to near mint condition cards inside because they don't sleeve them. They just
Jeez.
put them all in a box rattling about.
A little bit lazy on Pokemon's part, but oh well.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that Pokemon does that's lazy. We want to talk about world stuff that Pokemon does that's lazy, we might have a whole podcast done.
Well, I'm actually I pulled up your it looks like the original 2014 Pokemon World E4 meetup.
That was the first time that the few of us there because so I started going in 2010. 2011, Scott came along as well.
Now, in
2013.
in 2010, were you do that was what was E4 a thing then? Or was it called something else?
I think we had just started UPCCC in
Okay.
2010. Let me actually check. I can just check when when people registered for the forum. Yeah, it was early. It was early 2010. I actually registered it, and then people started joining like June 2010. So it wasn't really a thing.
Okay.
But yeah, then because at that time it was still a closed forum where you had to like apply to be accepted to talk.
Oh,
Because
really?
we wanted it just as like our own little club where we could just talk about collecting because it was just to be like a really tiny thing was the
Hmm.
original intention. Then obviously it changed what we wanted it to be halfway
Right.
through.
Right. But you guys are doing a good job of controlling it and making changes and trying to keep it wholesome. So I think
Uh,
it's still a great place to be active on and get
for sure,
information from.
it's not what the original. It's like it's better than what we originally intended it to be.
Okay.
Just at the time, like the community to say was just about 10 to 15 of us who'd occasionally post on PokeGym. Like back in 2010, the like collecting community didn't massively exist. Like there were collectors out there, but it wasn't like everyone being friends with each other and knowing each other and meeting up or whatever.
Oh, wow. But you guys knew of each other. I mean, was there any sort of competitiveness with each other on getting certain cards back then, or was it all friendly and everyone? Or I
It
mean,
was
what it was
it
before
was
social
pretty
media,
friendly.
so or like the big social medias.
It was pretty friendly. It was
Okay.
yeah. There was no social media wasn't really a big thing for it. It was more like the older forums, like PokeGym was the main place that we all were like. And I think 2009, Scott started a thread on there just called "Where are the collectors at?"
Hmm.
And we all just chatted in there, and that ended up being like one 400-page thread, and then they eventually made a collectors section, so we all chatted a bit on there. But there wasn't a ton of competitiveness. Like there was friendly competition, but there
Hmm.
was no like at least amongst the community type people, there wasn't much. There wasn't like backstabbing or anything, or
Right.
trying to undercut people on sales.
Right. What was like the I guess the people that were picked out to start the E4 forum from
The
that
first
group?
few people that went in, it was me, Scott, Marie, Arena, and who else was there? A guy called Dogma. I don't know if you
Mm-mm.
remember him. He hasn't been on forum in a long time.
No.
And then Viper Fox, who used to be a collector, she stopped collecting a while back. Jason and Charlie, who were in that first photo you were on, they obviously start. They obviously were like in the first block of people joining. Like, I think Jason joined pretty much immediately as well. Charlie was maybe like a month or two later.
Okay. That's cool. So you started going to Worlds in 2010,
Yeah.
or were you going before that? Were you ever a player?
I played a little bit, but it was never. I was never really playing. Um, and then 2010, it was just a friend of mine in the UK. I was chatting to him, and he was a player, so he'd been. He was like, "Look, Worlds is just a great experience." So I decided to just go along. Like I'd heard lots of stories about it. There weren't really many people there who were just purely collecting. The only other real collector who was there was Dave Person. He was
Okay.
the only guy who was there fully for collecting. There was a lot of people who were collectors and players who were there, but there wasn't many people like just for collecting.
So was he the one guy going after the trophy cards then, or was there?
Yeah, it was pretty much just him. It was just him. Like others would sell, like you'd occasionally get another one selling on eBay,
Hmm.
but it would be at like half the price, a third of the price of whatever he was paying.
Oh wow. I've always been interested to see one of those things go up on eBay today's market, like at auction, just for
Yeah,
entertainment purposes.
and I have no idea where they'd hit. I mean, the first one he bought was on eBay.
Oh wow.
It was because he didn't after Worlds 2004. There was like no fanfare around the fact that they'd even given out the trophy cards because of the fact all the first and third places all went back to Japan, and I guess none of the second place players from the US post about it anywhere.
Hmm.
So he did like I wasn't collecting at this point. I didn't come back into it later, but I've read the old threads and all the old stories and stuff. He didn't even know it existed until after Worlds 2005 when Jeremy Marin put his first place one up on eBay,
Okay.
and then from there that's where he started going after all the trophies.
And you had a couple trophies at one point, or I don't know if you still if you have them today. I think you talked about
Yeah,
that in one of your videos, um, from way back in the day. You've got some good informational stuff that you did years ago, that I
yeah.
remember
Like,
watching.
a long time ago when I was just very monotone, talking to the camera, matter of fact, fact kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a picture of my trophy from the other Instagram post. I've still got those.
Uh, well,
Next,
they
next
were
one you're on.
they were they weren't the full arts then. They were
They were the original half art ones.
the half art.
Yeah, there they are. So,
Yeah, number one and number two.
uh,
Was that 2007 and 2009?
yeah, 7, 9, 11, and 13.
Wow. Oh,
the
the three and four down there. I was just looking at the one and two. That's awesome.
Yeah, I had the full set. It was really weird. The number two. Originally, I bought from Scott, but
Okay.
I'd originally put Scott in touch with the person he bought it from because it was a friend of mine. So I ended up buying that from Scott. The number three I bought from Vince Kreckler because his son Alex had won it in juniors. The number one I actually got from Dave Person because Dave in 2007 for whatever reason had bought two of the number ones. I guess just two different winners want to sell, so I got that
Okay.
from him. And then it was at Worlds 2013 that I picked up the number one and the number three
Okay.
because I'd already got my number two a bit earlier. Um, and then it was like, oh great, I have the complete set. And then someone came over to us and was speaking to Dave. And was like, oh, there's something in the trophy cabinet you're gonna want to see. And that's when we went over and it was like, oh great, now there's a number four. So my set's not complete anymore.
Okay.
And it was really exciting because at that point Dave was like, look, if I get a second one this weekend, I'll get it and sell it back to you. But this was also the first year they changed the format of when they were playing the finals and stuff. So they actually played the quarterfinals and semifinals on Saturday for the first time, and just did all the finals back to back on Sunday. So the number three and number four trainers were given out on Saturday night, and we'd already left because we had no idea that was happening.
Okay.
So when we went back on the Sunday, all of the third and fourth places had left.
Ooh.
David got his number four, and I went back to England. And I was like, all right, well, let's see what happens. But then I looked up the names of the people who came fourth, and found that one guy lived like an hour's drive from me, one of the VGC players.
Oh wow.
So I messaged him and I was like, look, if you want to sell it, let me know. And at first he was like, no, I don't want to sell it. I think I'll hang on to it. And I was like, okay, well, if you do, this is my offer. I think I offered like £1,000 for it. And he was like, oh, I didn't know TCG cards, so like I thought it would be like £100. And then we ended up coming to a deal a little bit high. He looked a bit more into it. We came to a deal bit higher than that, and I ended
Mhm.
up just driving like an hour from my house to go and pick it up.
Wow, that's a great deal. That's phenomenal. I mean,
It was like it was $2,000 in the end for the number
okay,
four.
okay. I
And then
mean,
obviously the next year they changed to the full art. So that number four is actually a lot more desirable than I thought it would. We thought it would be
Yeah.
if they'd kept the same card style.
Well, every time that I search, a trophy card or anything when I'm trying to find one, I only see the full arts. I never see these. Not even in like articles or anything. I guess I'm not looking specifically for whatever years, but it's just
They're rarer too because 2013 was the first year that they gave them the video game players as well.
okay.
So that was the first year that there were 6 copies of each. Before that, it was just the 3 copies of each.
Okay. That
So
makes
they're
sense.
rarer, and I think like a lot of the players from back then have left the game.
Hmm.
So if they're not following the game, they might not know that they're like much more valuable now.
Well, did you know? Well, it seemed like you knew quite well the I guess the contestants that were there and the ones that were probably kind of meant to win or something. I mean, was that you said you were friends with one of the guys that won it? I mean, was that something you were a part of? Were you a judge? Were you?
No, I was never a judge or anything. I just became friends with a lot of people in the playing community because, like I said, there wasn't a huge collecting community at the time.
Okay.
So talking Pokemon with people, I talked to the players a bit, and then from going to Worlds was mainly how I got to know a lot of the players
Gotcha.
because when Top Cut's happening, we've got the bracket printed out and we're going over it. They're like, okay, well if this guy wins, we think he'll sell his trophy card, but we know that guy isn't going to sell his trophy card if he wins. We want him to lose in top 8, and it just from stuff like that, it became just knowing all the players. And back then, around like the early 2010s, it was basically like, it was like if you took say the top 50 players, like any tournament you go to, half of the top 8 is going to be from that small group of 50 probably.
Oh wow.
But now there's now just so many more players that like anyone, you have no certainty on who you think's going to make top cut or anything.
Gotcha. Was there like a tier list for who was gonna buy the first card? I mean, you said you were all pretty friendly, so like, was Dave Persons kind of the guy the first in line, and then you, and then like Scott, or was there any?
I was never going there to buy them. The ones I bought, I did deals like outside of Worlds mainly.
Okay.
But like David was the only guy at Worlds ever trying to buy them up until like maybe 2-3 years ago. He was there, and I think everyone who was even vaguely interested was like, okay, well, Dave will outbid me
Yeah.
if I do anything. So he always got his first. It was like I say, it was only up until a couple of years ago that anyone else could even compete because most people didn't have that disposable income because most of the collectors at that point were just in university or whatever, like they
Hmm.
don't have money to drop on trophy cards. But now people who have left university, got good jobs and stuff, have a lot more disposable income. Now it's to the point where other people can actually afford to bring the cash to Worlds and make the offers.
Right. And there also wasn't really a market back then. It wasn't talked about. At least when I
It
first
was
got in,
just
it was something I heard about, but it wasn't something that was being sold on the publicly or anything. So it was a tough thing
like I
for.
said, back then it was basically if you don't sell to David, your card loses half to 2/3 of its value because no one else was actively buying them.
Yeah. Wow.
People would call it the Persian price because it was like, look, that's the price that he's going to pay. Like no one else is going to pay that. And some years the Persian price was like $4,000 for a number one.
Hmm.
When you're going like, oh, you're crazy if you think anyone else is going to give you 4,000 for a number one.
Right. And now today people are throwing out offers of 15.
I think 15 is like the new standard for a number one. That's what people. That's around where people are saying that they would pay.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, to think I wanted to go get one this year in London, it's not looking too good with all the.
I say with the fact that there's 6 of each given out, if you don't care about what place you get or whatever, you can probably pick one up somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
Not too bad.
I mean, so have you gone to every single Worlds since 2010?
Yeah, I've been to everyone since.
Wow. Have they all been in the U.S.?
One was in Canada, but yeah.
Okay.
It was in Vancouver. The 2013 was in Vancouver, so just over the border. But like I was living in the UK up until like 2016, so
Those are
it
expensive
was still a
trips.
long flight either way.
Yeah, and now you're going back, I assume, this year to London for 2020.
Unless something terrible happens, then yeah, we'll be going back.
Well, that's good. Nice little trip home. It'll be fun. You'll be the one showing everybody around, I'm sure.
I mean, it's in London. I was from the north.
Oh,
I've only been to London like a handful of times, to be
okay.
honest.
Okay, gotcha. Well, you're gonna have to speak the language for us.
Yeah, translate what people are trying to say.
Exactly. All right, I want to take a couple. I want to take a look at some of these cards. I mean, the first thing that pops up is Vaporeon. What's with all the
Yeah,
Vaporeons?
I love Vaporeon. It's my favorite Pokemon.
That's
So
that's your go-to. Have you collected one of every single artwork, every single card of Vaporeon?
no, not yet. I have most of them, but I started like last year. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for PSA 10 Vaporeons.
Okay.
So I picked up some of the big ones. Like I've got the. I was like, okay, well, best place to start is going to be first edition Hollow Jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Picked that one up first, and then I picked up the no symbol one
Okay.
right next to it. And I was like, I got that for what is now like an insanely. It was like fine at the time. It was now like an insanely low price.
Yeah.
Because those no symbol ones, like a lot of people seem to be taking interest lately.
Oh yeah.
Um, Actually, I got that wrong. I think that the Japanese one was actually my first because it was just like $20 online. So I was like, okay, well, definitely getting that.
That's worth it for any PSA 10, just about.
Right.
That's great.
And then the Unseen Forces one of the Delta species, I actually picked up in person from TCA Gaming
Okay.
at the Hartford event. He'd like just got a return. It was like the first day. Not even the first day. He was like setting up on the morning. He was like, "Oh, help me unpack this stuff," and I just unpacked two PSA 10 Victorians. And I was like, "All right, what do you want?"
So,
Then the
no
Pop
gold
Series
star
3
yet?
one. No, so in the last week or so, I was looking. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get. I had a bit of money left over from Christmas and stuff, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get one like high end Vaporeon Gold Star. Sorry, Vaporeon PSA 10. So I was looking at the Gold Star, and then a Skyridge Hollow went up for auction.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this auction. I posted about it on Instagram too. I was like, I'm gonna watch this auction, see what happens, and then decide if I go for that, I'll go for that. If I don't get it, I'll go for a Gold Star or something. But I ended up winning that.
Oh wow.
So that
That's a
that
hefty
is
price
the
too.
because it was sitting at like just over 300 for like a few days, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna put in like 500, and I expected 500 to be like fairly safe. You're definitely gonna win this.
Hmm.
And the 622, as my wife always says to me, like, oh, never put exact round numbers. So I like because if someone bids like a penny more, you're gonna lose it. So I put in like 50622, and then
Worked out.
it went it went up, and it hit like 500. Like in the last few seconds, it went from like 400 to 500.
Yeah.
But it's a sweet card.
It's beautiful. Skyridge Hollows are going to be interesting to watch coming up. I mean, I remember it had to be 2 years ago. I opened up a couple packs. I pulled the Gengar. It got a 10, and I sold it immediately for $900. And then a year later, it dropped down to like 200 or 300, and now they're all starting to climb up real fast.
I think any Watsy Hollow in PSA 10 is starting to climb.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the sealed box prices we're seeing with the Neo sets and with Skyridge, things are gonna there's gonna be a nice little uptick. And I totally missed out on that, but that's all right. All right, what else? There was a couple. Oh, you got the Unicarp in there. I actually just
Yeah,
bought my very first trophy card, I guess, a 1999 Tropical Wind. So I'm looking forward to getting that in my hands. I saw this. It wasn't in this one. These Japanese stadium cards. What are these?
they're called PAL City cards. So there was like a tour thing went on around Japan. I think it was like 2007, and the 7 different locations of this event had a different card. And if you look in all the card artwork, somewhere has in it that like Pikachu dome thing. You can see it like close up in the Pikachu Pichu card. And
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that the actual event in Japan had a real Pikachu dome.
Ah.
So it's like sort of all the cards are kind of sharing an artwork, but all from different directions.
Okay, that's very nice.
So yeah, it's like it was kind of popular of a set for a while, and then it really dropped off. It's not like really high desirable thing that everyone's after, but it's a really nice set. It's
Yeah,
really nice artwork.
really great artwork. It reminds me of like Dragon Ball Z cities with these these buildings in the back. That's why I liked them when I was looking at them. I really hope they take Worlds back to Japan soon because that would be a blast. And
Well, Worlds has never been in Japan.
Oh, it's never been in Japan? What are they?
The only Japanese ones were like back was when it was only Japanese players playing. That's the only Japanese tournaments, and then the closest they've done is they've done Hawaii a few times.
Yeah. Well, they have got to put it in Japan because they would do something great for it, bigger than what they would do anywhere else, I would assume. But
yeah, I don't. I mean, I never thought they'd leave the US, but look, we're going to London.
Yeah.
So who knows?
And then this Machamp card. I've never seen this Machamp artwork before. I think it's my new favorite Machamp artwork. Even though
it's the regular one from, I think that's the Hidden Legend set. It's the same set artwork. It's just that's the Staff Nationals version.
Yeah.
Those are the first two Staff Nationals cards.
Oh.
They didn't do any Staff cards until after Nintendo took over. And the first year, the 03-04 season, they had the Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard line. The secret rares from EX Dragon.
Yeah.
They had the city regionals and national stamps for those, but none of them got staff versions. They didn't do a staff version of a card until Worlds. And then for the next two seasons, they did the Machamp line and the Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise line, but only did staff versions for nationals. Okay. And then the following year, starting the 06-07 season, when they did the Luxray line, that's when they started doing staffs for cities and regionals and all of the others.
So there is a staff Wartortle and staff Squirtle?
No, there's not. There's no staff for the Squirtle, Wartortle, and Machamp. It starts with the Shinx Luxray.
Okay.
The following year is when they started getting them.
Very cool. What else? You got some victory rings in here. You've got some air cards. What random I mean, I was watching one of the video I think you posted today or yesterday. The amount of binders you have is ridiculous.
So I say I have a binder for every set.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like my binders go back to about Diamond and Pearl. I still need to get some more binders. I have like a lot of the EX era stuff. I still need to binder up. And then Laura has a binder for every single set.
Wow.
They're not full sets, all of them. Some of them are missing stuff, but she has pretty much master sets full from I think HDSS to this just before the start of Sun and Moon, when they started having 50 rainbows or whatever.
Yeah. Well, outside of
she has a lot more.
Outside of completing sets, what's something that you go after? What's your kind of fix with collecting? Do you like errors?
I mean, like errors are really cool. I do focus mainly on English stuff. Like, there's a few errors on that page.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just been kind of all over the place. That's why I'm trying to focus more and get the PSA 10 Vaporeons and stuff.
Okay.
So there was the Dragonite error on that page before.
Just the unlimited one there, and then the Dark Persian.
I don't have the first edition. I would love the first edition, and even if they're not errors, just stuff like weird variants, like that Larvitar in the bottom corner. It's a sealed Larvitar and Dratini that has the EX Delta species stamp like the Reverse Hollow does, but they're non-hollow. They came out in, I think it was a Swedish Donald Duck magazine. They came out in. They're English cards, but it's just stuff like that where they're just really weird.
Yeah. Wow.
Anything like that, anything with like a weird story behind it, I really like.
All right.
And the Japanese stuff, I've just picked up stuff I like.
Okay. One request. Speaking of weird stories, great segue. I've been told to ask you some of your favorite and most cringy Verbank Pokemon stories, if you have any off the top of your head that you can bring up.
Can we substitute Verbank for just Facebook groups in general?
Yeah.
because I had an interaction. One that's fresh in mind. I had an interaction yesterday with a guy. He posted a picture of a PSA 10 first edition base Charizard with the serial number and the barcode removed, and he was like, "Oh my god, is this real?" And I started with like, "Well, the card looks fine, but you've removed the only identifying features from it." And I was like, "So, what are you trying to get out of this?" And he's like, "Oh well, I'm meeting a guy, and he says he doesn't know what it's worth, and but he wants to sell it to me. He says he found it in his closet." And I was like, "Right." He said he found it in his closet, but it's a new PSA label, and he wants to meet you in person, so you're definitely about to get mugged.
So you saved him.
Well, I said that, and the guy was like, "No, I already met him in Starbucks. That's where I took the picture." And I was like, "Right, okay, this has been stolen from the mail."
Oh my
It's like
god.
because it's like the story. It's exactly the same as the story we had on the forum like a couple of weeks ago about that Camex computer error.
All right.
It was like guy turns up with a shady story and a rare card. And then the guy was like, "Oh well, what's so bad if it's stolen then?" I was like, "Well, you're receiving stolen goods, and that's like a felony,
The fact that someone
or it can
would
land you jail time."
the fact that someone would fall for a story of, oh, I just randomly found a professionally graded card in
I
my
found this
closet.
card in my closet. You can easily Google and find out that it's worth like 40,000. But do you want it for a couple of thousand? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but there's no one out there that's just randomly grading cards that doesn't know what they are. It's people are
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I've had loads of stuff where a lot of times if I get into a disagreement with someone over collecting, their go-to thing is often, "Oh yeah, well, what cards do you have?" And I always refuse to tell them because it's like if I'm presenting you with some facts and something that I'm backing up with links that you can read, it shouldn't matter if I don't own any cards. Like I'm still backing up what I'm saying. And people are always like, "Oh, I've got this, or I've got this." Like it doesn't matter what cards you own. The fact is, I'm telling you something that I can back up with evidence. I get that so often.
I wish, and I know I've been extremely petty with people. I just wish I could do it more. I don't know why I don't. It's something in me. The amount of stupid questions and stupid requests I get from people through Instagram or wherever, just see a picture of something. I can't stand it anymore. It's getting out. It's ridiculous.
I only have a part-time job currently. I lost my main job not too long ago, but the part-time job I'm at, I can like have the computer on at work. So often it's just like if it's really, really slow in the store, everyone's like, "Oh, you're wasting your time talking with these people online." It's like, no, I'm actually at work and it's slow, so I'm just having fun.
Yeah. What's
And a lot of my thing is like, if I'm publicly disagreeing with someone like on a thread, and I'm putting stuff across, I'm never trying to convince the person I'm arguing with. I'm putting it there so that the next person who reads it doesn't just take what the first person said at face value.
Gotcha. You're saving everybody with their time. Save.
That card is not mine. That is
Oh, the
one of the
master key.
pictures. Yeah, that is one of the pictures from the Hartford event. Like, I wish I owned a Master's
Oh,
Key. That art is beautiful.
yeah. There's a lot of things that I wish that I own that I never will at this point. Some of these cards are they just have gotten way out of touch for the normal
The
collector.
Master's Key, though, is one of the ones where I've been around long enough to remember when I could afford it
Yeah.
and didn't get it.
Those are the most painful. That's so hard.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, if I like the worst is when I just finished off my Pikachu trophy set, an illustrator sold for less than the price I paid for the full four trophies.
Ooh.
If instead of those trophies I got the illustrator, like I I mean I know it would be hard to put that set of trophies together again, but I
Yeah.
bet it would be cheaper than buying an illustrator.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And well, finding a real illustrator at this point too is going to be almost impossible.
They're
At
all
least at a decent price.
gotta get one of the $250,000 graded ones.
Yep. Well, there's still a lot out there that haven't been found yet, so there's a chance.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Very small chance. We'll have Worlds 2021 in Japan, and some guy will come with 20 illustrators and say, "Oh, I collected these."
for what like Worlds like 2010 to 2013 era, I would not have said it was impossible because at that time Japanese players just had so much stuff with them that like they didn't think was worth anything. But now there's so much like communication between Japan and the rest of the world. Like at the time there was like what one or two big sellers who were in Japan and selling to the rest of the world because everything was so much just focused on like Yahoo Japan, and not many people outside of Japan actually used it. There was just a few people doing the translating stuff. So the few people in Japan who were willing to use eBay were making a mint. They were selling a lot of stuff because it's just everyone in Japan didn't know that their stuff was so valuable. It was like I think Worlds 2011 maybe. One of the was a Japanese guy had some deck boxes and stuff he was selling. So me and a friend went up. I was just looking through it, and he had a stack of the JR Rally promos. You know, the six different Pokemon with where the art matches up, the late P promos.
Yeah.
Of those, and at the time, they were like $100 for a set of six, and he had a huge stack, and we were like, "Oh, how much are those?" And he was like, "Oh, no, if you buy a deck box, you get one of these for free." And
wow.
And then my friend was like, "How much? Well, how much would you take for the stack? Would you take $25?" And the guy was like, "Well, yeah, definitely. I'm giving them away for free." And it was just that weird disconnect of when something was really cheap in Japan, it ended up being really expensive in the rest of the world because the people living in Japan didn't think it was worth their time to try and sell it because they're like, "Oh, this is worth $2, like $2 here. There's no point in us trying to sell it outside of Japan." And then because nobody did that, they were really hard to get a hold of.
Wow, that's interesting. I wish I could have been around a couple years prior to when I got in just to see some of that. I mean,
World's like pre 2014, like when they had the Hilton contract, that was great because they had the free playrooms. You had 24-hour open room where people were playing and trading and stuff 24/7 for like the whole weekend. But then it got to a point where one year people were really rowdy and wrecked the room, and it was horrendous.
Yeah, there's no way they can do that now and allow that with all the money that could be thrown around. And
there's too many people and stuff. And back then it was like the no selling rule was enforced by like once every 2 hours someone would stick their head in the door and be like, "Remember, no selling, only trading." And then they go away and just like leave you to it. But then the last few years, it's like they have actual security that are like on top of you all the time.
And the kicking people out. I remember in DC, I saw people getting escorted out.
Oh yeah, so. They're really into it. They will not let you sell at all.
Yeah. It's a good thing though. That's how it should be. And if they want to get together outside, it's super easy to do so. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, you have to just arrange the deal inside, and then you leave and go do the go exchange the money.
Right. So what's on your radar for 2020, other than your Vaporeons? Is there anything special that you're looking out for that? Or unless you're hiding.
I want to try and finish off the Sun and Moon sets, like get those binder sets all up to date, just so I can start worrying about it. I'm gonna keep trying to pick up some Magic Reserve List cards where I can.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know you were into Magic as well.
I used to play Magic a lot. I don't as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It comes and goes. Sometimes I'll go to tournaments and stuff. So it's not picking up, mint alpha copies of Reserve List stuff. It's like, I'll take played revised stuff. It's just I want the copies of them if I want to build decks and play some Legacy.
Yeah. I feel like every so often going back home, me and my brothers will, for whatever holiday, for a round, we'll draft a box and play and end up getting thrown away the cards or something unless we have something nice. But
I do enjoy drafting.
Yeah, the Magic's fun to play. It's very complicated, but it's a good time.
Yeah, like when I did play Pokemon a little bit, I never had as much fun as I do when I'm playing Magic.
Yeah, it takes a lot more thought, a lot more effort and there's so much more you can do with it. I mean, again, Pokemon is something I never played seriously, and we kind of made up our own rules, but it's so basic and there's not too much there to.
It is there's a decent amount of strategy, but it's I in Pokemon you can still have the first person going first takes a 40-minute turn and then you lose
Yeah.
without doing much.
Right. Well,
Magic that doesn't really happen outside of Vintage.
here's something I want to ask you because I have a strategy I'm trying to put together for worlds, and it will hopefully pay for it all. And I I'm hoping for I've only been to two now. I've been to Anaheim and I've been to DC, and there's always what seems to be one specific item that is limited, but everything else does quite well in the the secondary market as well. What should I be? What should I be buying from the Pokemon Center? Should I be buying? Should I fill my suitcase up with sleeves? Should I fill it up with plushies? What you've got a lot more experience with this, so
I mean, the big thing is usually playmats. Playmats are always pretty popular. But I think the fact that we're we're going to be in London, the amount you're going to get from the fact you'd have to probably pay to ship another suitcase back. This basically the stuff isn't as limited as it used to be. Like in 2011, the stuff would be so limited. There were people camping out in front of the Pokemon Center for 13 hours.
oh wow.
But now there's like a really nice amount of stuff, and they have basically if you go to the Pokemon Center at Worlds now, you should get what you want. So, and there's a lot of people who will buy the extra stuff to sell on. I don't think there's a particular thing where you should be like, oh, this is gonna pay for my trip. If you walk around speaking to a load of staff members and they're willing to let the staff cards go, depending on what they let them go for, you might be able to do something with that later on.
Yeah, I know. I did that in DC. We got one of the staff backpacks and the staff cards, and that was the easiest thing to make money on and turn around. But I kind of paying attention to the plushies and all the deck boxes and stuff, and I got one of like everything, but a lot of it didn't really. I'm still sitting on it because there's so much of it. Like you said, everyone's able to get what they want.
A lot of it at Worlds is that the people people are just selling stuff because they don't want to have to take it home.
Right.
Well, you're going to have that problem of not being able to take it home as easy.
Well, if I just bring an empty suitcase and just fill it up and take it on the plane with me, no shipping costs, hopefully. And
well, I mean, if you send back just a suitcase full of plush, customs might have something to say about it.
Oh yeah, what was the story on that? That happened to somebody, didn't it? Not too long ago.
Like a plushie got cut open because they thought it was full of heroin.
Yeah, something like that. I thought Scott was telling a story about that, or maybe he was just making up for instance. But
he definitely might have done. Like I haven't heard about it, but it's entirely possible.
I just have 50 Pikachu plushies in my bag, and the customs goes ahead and rips them all open. That would not be fun.
What has actually been really good the last couple of years is the limited coin and dice sets.
Oh yeah. Wait. Oh, it's I know that was big in DC, but they did that in the past few years as well.
I think it's the past DC and the year before they did it.
Okay, and that was
it was 2 years.
I think that was the one item that they limited one per customer or something.
Yeah, because on the first day, apparently the first couple of customers bought 50 each.
Oh.
In DC.
So they did really well. Good for them.
Yeah. I think it was some Japanese guys went in and was like, okay, we're taking as many of these back home as we can.
It was June.
Entirely possible.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, that's something that I've been thinking about, and I don't know. I'll have to take a look at all the recent prices on 2019 stuff and see if I can do a nice little turnaround. But who knows? You'll be your wife is usually a judge there, right? Is there different levels of?
She's been on staff. She hasn't actually been a judge.
Okay.
Because she is a judge. She's judged other big tournaments, but for Worlds, they normally ever doing something else. Like for a couple of years, she was on the stream team, So she
Okay.
was working, making sure the stream runs okay, and she's done that at a lot of regionals. And then the last Worlds, they had the First Step program, which was the place where they basically just gave kids that they had like a table just full of random commons and uncommons, and then a table full of trainers, and then the boxes of energy. And it was like, okay, you go through, you grab like 20 Pokemon that you want, you grab 20 random trainers, you grab some energy, and then we sit and learn how to play.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that table.
And that was like it was it was like insanely popular. She said they had like a 2 hour line for most of the weekend.
I might have to bring a Charizard with me next time and just kind of slip it in there, a base set. A little prize for the first kid to find it.
Yeah.
So with all that staff gear and staff cards, there's no different like levels of like the cards themselves, the world's cards. There's the staff promo, there's the non stamped promos, but with the bags and the playmats and all that, there's different kind of like tiers, right? There's a staff playmat. There's a
There's staff ones, but there isn't different tiers within staff.
mm-hmm.
Um, the only thing that changes with staff level is how many boxes you get.
Okay. Huh.
Some staff will get a couple of cases, some will just get a case or whatever.
Gotcha. But there's no like judge stamped playmat.
And they get the playmat with staff on it. They get the staff card from Worlds. They normally get a couple. A lot of them get a couple of copies of that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff they get. There's usually a staff pin as well. The pins are really nice.
Oh, I haven't seen those.
The competitors also get stuff that's exclusive because, like I say, the playmats. There's a playmat that they sell in the store,
mm-hmm.
and then the competitor one is different, and then the staff one, it normally has the same art as the competitor one, but say staff on it rather than competitor or something.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, there's so many different things for us to get into with Pokemon. I think it's expanding pretty rapidly. I mean, I just got some PSA graded action flip cards, and you know, I love seeing all the different marketing posters from back in the day, and really anything. It's kind of fun. I really hope to see something, you know, pretty epic come out, like some sort of original drawings or artworks from Arita.
That will be under lock and key in Japan.
I mean, I wonder if they ever show that stuff publicly. If there's ever any.
I've seen photos of like a card art exhibition in Japan like years back where they had a lot of like, I don't know if it was original art, but it was like big prints of the art that's on cards.
Okay.
They did sort of exhibition, but it was nothing that was publicly for sale or anything like that. You couldn't get any of the art like you can with Magic.
Okay. Yeah, they got to be out there. I hope so. You know, the artist proofs and all that.
I'm sure they still exist. Just we're never going to get them.
Yeah. Maybe one day. You never know. Some employee might sneak them out.
Maybe.
But well, cool. You know, we're coming up in an hour here. I think we had some great conversation. I feel like, I mean, there's so much we could talk about. We've, you know, never got to sit down and talk really ever. So
yeah, I mean, I could go for another hour at least.
Yeah. And, you know, I would love to just pick your brain about all the different stories from back in the day of like what Scott was doing, what you were doing, what Charlie was doing, you know, all these big names we see in the hobby now. And but unfortunately Spotify caps me at like 80 minutes or something. So
okay.
But hey, I'd like to end it there, and I hope that maybe in the future we'll be able to do another podcast and focus on some other stories as well. I need to come up with some ideas for my next series. But thank you again, Dan, for giving me your time to talk today with you today and reminisce on some of the old Pokemon stuff and what's going on in the hobby now. And hopefully I'll see you at Worlds at least.
Hopefully.
So I plan on going as well. It should be a good time. Hopefully we get enough E4 members out there.
Sure we will, and I'm sure there'll be a load of like the European members who haven't made it over to the US will hopefully make the trip out to London.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be cool to meet some of them. But make sure you guys follow DJGigabyte on Instagram and on YouTube. He's been posting some great new content, some great new videos. Almost every day now, right? On YouTube? Or
Trying to
every
get about 3 videos a week.
three
3 to 4
videos a
videos.
week? Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just started actually a new kind of series that I'm doing where kind of like I started for 2020 doing like a video diary showing what I'm doing every day,
Okay.
like
Nice.
TCG wise, partly to for in case anyone's interested, but it's probably just it's been keeping me on track with what I've been doing. So it's making me actually be more productive knowing that I'm filming it.
Yeah, and that's
So it's as good for me as it is for anyone else.
and that's still another hole I think in Pokemon that we don't have available yet is a vlog type um, content creator for this Pokemon investing and buying and collecting. It's a lot of just sit in front of the camera and talk. So
Yeah.
that'll be fun to watch. Hopefully you keep it up and get some good feedback out of it.
Yeah, hopefully hoping to keep it going. And I do a booster box Wednesday. I open a booster box every Wednesday. It's all recent stuff, but it's booster box a week if you want to see a booster box being opened. And I try to go through them quick. Like I'm not when I'm opening products, I'm just like flicking through the commons, showing off the rare and the reverse, flick through the uncommons. I'm not going to be
Right.
like doing doing the card trick and making the box opening last 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
we don't need those. We just want
not
to
what
see
I'm
the
about.
polls. We just want to see the good stuff.
My box openings are average about 15 minutes. So it's like if you want to watch a box being torn open while I talk nonsense for 15 minutes, go check it out.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Dan. I appreciate it, and we will talk soon.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.